Each new generation born is in effect an invasion of civilization by little barbarians who must be civilized before it is too late. Thomas Sowell. What's up, everybody? We back again for another episode. Let's slide right into the national debt. We are up 35.4 trillion since September 6th. We went up over 100 billion more in debt. It's like 100 plus billion. The money printers are continuing to stay on, and everything is continuing to rise in price. So if we take a look at where we were at last week compared to this week, we're up a little over 20 billion this week compared to last week. Let's take a look at some prices. So Bitcoin's price 65,690 as of when I was doing this. Last week, I don't know why these numbers are wrong. Last week we were at 62,980. And today we're at 65,690. So we're up a little more than 3,000 or give or take. When it comes to Bitcoin nodes, we're at about 31,000. So we're at a 20, we're at about 30,900. So, well, about 31,000 in reachable nodes. And last week we were at 30,700. So we're up about 300. That number has been staying pretty steady between 30,000 and 31,000 between reachable nodes and also Bitcoin Tor nodes. If you guys don't know more about Tor and stuff like that, I talked about it previously. If we look at the market cap, we're at 1.3 trillion. So we're slowly still trying to climb up the ladder. We've still been hovering around this number 10 spot for a minute. But like I said, once we leapfrog Meta, the rest are pretty close in market cap. So it won't be very far until we kind of get to that point. Still keeping an eye on that. Now we're only 11% away from all-time highs, which was 199 days ago. And we'll also take a look at the RSI and see where we're at on that. If we look at the RSI, we can see RSI is starting to get a little hot. So Bitcoin price finally broke that resistance that it was having here at the 200 moving average, which is here in red. As you can see, every time we broke below the 200, there's been resistance, and then it surpassed it, broke below. We had resistance at it, and then we also had resistance at the 50-day, and then kind of broke past it, kind of came back below, and now is where retesting that 200-day again. We were retesting it for a little about a week or so, and then now we're kind of in this zone. So our next resistance levels are going to be about 70,000, and then a little bit above 70,000 are some of the next resistance levels. So we'll see what happens as RSI continues to get hot, and we're coming up on some big resistance levels. You can see the MACD cross, they're still separated from each other. Go check out MACD and look a little bit into that. But like I said, this is the daily chart, and I have it 1 year out. Kind of explain a little bit about that back in some previous videos. Some recent news: Boltz unveils Bitcoin Pay server plugin to facilitate Bitcoin Lightning payments. This is great for businesses. So what they're able to do is they're able to transact in Bitcoin, and then they can transfer funds to the Liquid network, and then they can convert it into whatever they want to convert it to, whether it be USDT, or if they want to just keep it in Bitcoin, however the business or however the individual that is the merchant wants to do. So this is a great step for, businesses and people that are either entrepreneurs or anyone that's collecting payments. So that's a good way for people to have the option to be able to do what they want to do instantly. So if they want to convert it out into USDT or whatever they want to convert it into, they have that ability to do so. PayPal expands services to business accounts for buying, holding, and selling Bitcoin. Swan Bitcoin sues former employees over alleged theft of mining businesses. So just like I say with any exchange, you know, especially Swan, they've been having a lot of news lately. I don't use them, but I do know a lot of individuals that do. I don't have anything against them personally. They just been in the news a lot lately. So I guess it's just their turn. You know, between them and Coinbase, they're usually in the news, or I'm sure other exchanges will be as well at some point. That's just the name of the game of how it's been so far. But get your Bitcoin off of these exchanges, right? Use these exchanges to be able to purchase your Bitcoin, get rid of your dirty fiat, get into good, healthy Bitcoin, and then have proper UTXO management. Once you accumulate what you feel is a good amount for UTXO management, and then send that into your cold storage and get it off of these exchanges. So that way, if anything does happen to these exchanges, your Bitcoin, your currency, it doesn't matter what happens to them, right? So you don't care what they got going on in the news or anything like that. So that's what they got going on. Israel goes cashless. So, you know, people that are in the Gaza Strip rely on using cash heavily. And so Israel is going cashless to promote this plan to abolish, you know, the 200 shekel banknotes and potentially roll out for the CBDCs. So it's a lot going on over there. You know, I don't want to speculate or dive too much into that, but go ahead, research it, and come up with your own conclusion. But like I said, that's just some of the news. They're trying to go cashless. And, you know, I'm sure there's always agendas behind everything. If we look at the fear and greed, the last couple of days, we've been hovering around greedy. And this is out to date. So this only gets update every so often. So this was last updated back in August. So these on the right side give you the current update. So we've been hovering around the greed. So remember how I said previously that the fear and greed and the RSI, there's a lot of correlation. So if we look at where the fear and greed is at, we're getting greedy. And what are we coming up on? We're coming up on 70, which is considered overbought. So those two have a pretty big correlation between the two. And then you can go back in time and check it out as well. But anyways, so right now we're getting towards that greed. So we're, you know, that what do they say? Be greedy when others are fearful, and then be fearful when others are greedy. All right. So we'll see if the correlation stays true. If we take a look at the average mining costs, we've went up a little bit compared to last week. We're up to 77,585. And last week we were at 74,708. So about 3,000 give or take in USD price. So like I said, still on the watch out to see how long it takes for Bitcoin's price to surpass the high in average mining cost price, which was back in April. Back on previous history, if you know, we can only use previous data, it seems like if mining costs are higher than Bitcoin price, it could stay that way as long as up to 6 to 9 months. So we'll see how long this holds true. So pretty soon we'll be coming up in that 6 to 9 month window, since this was the end of April. So we'll see and continue to keep watching that every week. As far as Bitcoin ETF, Bitcoin holdings, we're climbing right back up. And once again, like I said, when the RSI continues to get hot, when Bitcoin price continues to get hot, more inflows happen into the ETFs. When Bitcoin price goes down, when RSI is going down, more outflows are happening from ETFs. So right now we're up to, as of the 27th, we're at 930,430 in holdings. And last week we were at 911,853. So we're up about 19,000. And like I said, you know, I've stated my opinion many times on ETFs. Not a fan. I won't be holding any ETFs. I personally like holding my Bitcoin myself. You know, holding a Bitcoin ETF is similar to holding a gold ETF. You know, I would rather have the physical gold instead of having it on an exchange, because if anything happens to that exchange, then you're kind of SOL. Let's take a look at mining. So the last 7 days hash rate, like I said, it's been fluctuating pretty much between 500 and 700 for about the last month or so. If we take a further look out, you can kind of see we've been a low of about 481, and then we got up as high as like 745, 750, something like that. So we've been pretty much fluctuating around that price. We want to continue to see this number increase because that means the security of the system is increasing. You know, we want more people out there mining. I highly encourage people to get out there. There's a lot of great home miners, and they've been working on creating even easier ones for people to literally kind of plug and go. So I personally have a couple of BitAxe miners running myself. I have one that's a part of a public pool, and then I have a solo miner. When I get back, I'm just going to do all solo miners, and I'm actually going to pick up a couple more BTC sessions. Just picked up a new miner that he's posted some pictures of, and hopefully he'll do a review of that one here pretty soon, and more to come with that. A recent paper that I read was Anonymous Byzantine Consensus from Moderately Hard Puzzles, a model for Bitcoin. So pretty much what that was about was how Bitcoin uses puzzles to solve a computer science problem called Byzantine Consensus, allowing computers worldwide, even if some are dishonest, to securely and anonymously agree on who owns what Bitcoin in a decentralized system. So check that out when you can. It's on the Satoshi Nakamoto Institute, and it's in their library with some other great reads. And it's it's not too long, but a good read. And then a Bitcoin documentary that I recommend you guys check out was this one by Morgan Spurlock, Living with Bitcoin 2015, The Future of Bitcoin. It was a 41-minute long documentary, and he pretty much went a week on trying to live solely on Bitcoin. So it's pretty cool because it was, you know, almost 10 years ago, and he was pretty successful in what he was trying to do. It wasn't very easy, but in my opinion, he was pretty successful. And today, now it would be even easier with all the platforms and things that you can do. I'm still on Gradually, then Suddenly. I'm really enjoying it so far. No notes for it as of yet. I just finished up The Power of Habit, which was a great listen. It wasn't too long. And then I just started Thinking in Bets. So if you're looking to work on your habits, if you're trying to figure out habits that you have that you may not realize that you have, the book, The Power of Habits, really gives you a different perspective and a different look on how to work on bad habits that you have, how to create good habits, and things like that. So give that a listen or give that a read, depending on if you're more of an audio or if you're a visual person. I usually have multiple. Some stuff I have hard copy, and then sometimes if I'm on the go or in the gym or whatever, I like to listen to books sometimes. So some updates on my Fold app, my Fold card, 1,055 sats. And it's kind of not fair comparing the Fold and the Fountain because Fold, I think I started out with 500. So I probably should have started from there. But anyways, it's what I got. So I got about 70 sats this week from the Fold card, and that's just from using the spins. I haven't been using the card since I've been out in Europe, but once I get back to America, I want to try to use that a little bit more, maybe mess around with paying some bills off with it to get those rewards and see how that goes with the Fountain app. So right now they've been paying double. So it's been a good week with the Fountain app, 278 sats, and I'm up to 325. I actually think that number might be wrong. I need to double check that. But anyways, I've been getting some good sats from the Fountain app lately, and I've been slacking on Fountain as well because, like I said, a lot of the podcasts I like to listen to is a lot of them are visual. They'll talk about different charts and they'll show charts. So that's kind of my only one downside to Fountain app is that for those podcasts or those shows that are showing charts, you can't see them, so you can only hear them. So sometimes I'll start on Fountain and then they'll start talking about whatever chart they're looking at, and then I'll switch back to YouTube. So still working on it. It's a progress. Still slacking on that Sailor Academy. Now I need to go back and redo everything and kind of get refreshed, but I need to get the back in the groove of that. Being out here in Europe, traveling around, kind of messed my groove up with that, but it's all good. Both my miners are still running smooth, no issues, still no solo hit yet, but the mine pool that I'm a part of, they've solved the block. So shout out to them. And the node is still up and running. You know, I see more and more people are starting to get in the business of running their own node, which is good. It just strengthens the system. It, you know, makes your transactions more secure for yourself. Get a miner up and running, get some nodes up and running, and try to get yourself in this new system so you can completely get out of the old system, like Jeff Booth likes to talk about so often. And that's really all I got for you guys. So I appreciate anybody tapping in. If you have any questions or if you want me to cover something, just let me know down in the comments and I'll check you guys next week.